And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Michael Bozak's our guest. Mike, longtime member of the Landmark Society of Greater Utica, who's done so much good in preserving local history. And Union Station, we mentioned before the break, Mike, a landmark. And of course, you know a lot about Union Station. You've studied it. I'm still waiting for your book to come out.
So am I.
Yeah,
maybe when I retire.
Well, I hope you do that, because there's a great history with that Union Station, and Union has nothing to do with labor trades or anything like that.
No, it's an interesting moniker. It's a Union Station because eventually, not when it was originally built, but eventually there were 3 railroads that came in there. The other railroads were the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western, and the O&W, Ontario and Western.
And New York Central.
And the New York Central, which is the company that actually built it. So it was built for the New York Central, and the other ones came in about a year and a half after it opened up.
Mm-hmm. What year did that? I can never remember if it was 1901 or 1913.
It was 1914 that it opened.
All right.
May 1st was the official opening.
Okay. So I didn't even have either date right, 1914.
1914.
And it's really a classic building that came very close to the Wreckers Ball.
Very much so. Again, it was in an era, the 70s, when a lot of the older buildings were seen as surplus. It looked horrible. If you see pictures from the late 60s, early 70s, it was in very rough shape. The skylights that are so glorious now on a sunny day when you walk in there were covered over with tar paper and all that, and it really looked dingy. The ceiling, the roof was leaking very badly. So people were calling for its demolition, and several landmarkers way back in the day, Frank Presbyson being one of them, who said, look, the building's in perfect condition, it's just the roof you need to fix. And slowly but surely there was a movement to say, no, we need to save this building, it's very worthwhile. And it's one of the few in New York State that remained a train station true to its nature from beginning 1914 until today, and hopefully for the foreseeable future.
Assemblyman Nicholas Calogero, I remember,
was critical.
Yeah.
He was absolutely critical to turning the tide of popular opinion, especially to say, look, this building really needs to be saved. We really need to save this, and we need to find the money to fix it.
I remember once, I forget who it was, I'd give them credit if I could remember who it was telling me that when it comes to parks, when it comes to public buildings, the way you save them is to get people into them. You got to figure out a way to get people to use them, and that's what they've done with Union Station. A lot in there right now.
Very well, and the county, I'll give a shout out to the county of Oneida because they have been excellent stewards of that building. They've owned it since the early 90s. It was Conrail's building for a while, and when the county took it over, they were nothing but advocates, and that's been great. And in fact, when the New York Central built it, they built it for a lot of offices that never actually transpired. So they actually rented out a lot of the property or a lot of the storefronts and all that to various other organizations. And it wasn't until the county took the building over, did the renovations and all, that it was fully occupied.
One of the things that I miss about it, I remember as a boy, I don't know when they did this, but it was a long time ago. The way you got to the tracks was underground tunnels. And now, of course, we get to the tracks by going up and over and down. But I like those tunnels.
Love the tunnels.
Yeah.
Love the tunnels. They were great. They were also very wet and damp and difficult to take care of, which is why they eventually filled them in and went over. Remember, that was where the Mohawk River originally was.
Yeah.
So it's the lowest part of the valley and always wet. So they could never really take care of the water problem.
Yeah. And then I guess there was a security problem there too, you know. The Railway Express building, which is just east adjoining Union Station, boy, some remarkable progress there.
Yes, very good to see. Hopefully there will be a worthwhile use for it. I know that in years past we've advocated for things like the farmers market, for perhaps an antiquer's row or something to that effect, where those could actually be another draw to Bag Square.
County Executive Picente has announced that he's looking for ideas for that Railway Express building.
It's a difficult building to to reuse only because it's very long and narrow, and actually 3/4 of the way into the building, it starts off at the ground level, 3/4 of the way in, it goes up to a platform.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little harder to use, a little bit more challenging, but certainly with the right ideas and all that, it could work very well.
And if I recall my history correctly, Mike, the reason for those different levels, because they backed tractor trailers in on one end and they
Yes.
loaded the things in from the other end off the trains.
Yes, that's exactly why.
The building itself is noted for those big columns, marble, correct?
Yes, actually, there are only 4 that are solid marble. The rest of them are jacketed with marble and steel because the building was built in 1914 to be fireproof, and so it is a steel structure, steel skeleton structure, and they took the marble from Vermont and actually jacketed those steel columns.
We've got 30 seconds left. Remind everybody about the Fuller House.
Okay, the Fuller House, this Saturday, December 14th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. That is 10169 Fuller Road in Remsen, and that's a $10 donation. Also, our ornament reception is Thursday, November 7th, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Colosi's in New Hartford.
Okay, good. I'll see you at one of those.
I hope so.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Joe.
And thank you. We'll do this all again next week. Don't forget cnyhomepage.com. There's lots of good stuff there. Until next time, take care of yourself, everybody.